Yo! So in this video, I'm going over email flows and the entire ecosystem that we preach so much about. So let's just get straight into it. This is what actually ecosystem is, just automated revenue engine. So most e-commerce brands, they're leaving absurd amounts of money on the table and they actually don't even know it because they obsess over campaign emails. These one-off broadcasts that require constant creation and manual sending, and that's why they're also neglecting the true profit machine, which is automated flows. You need to have automated flows or else you're missing out. And if your flows aren't generating around, like, I want to say actually 30, almost up to 50% of your total email revenue, you're probably doing something wrong. So who am I? I'm JP. I'm the co-founder of Marketing, where we handle email and SMS marketing for a lot of brands. It was made on market, especially in Scandinavia, but also across the world with clients, actually all over the world. So you'll get access to this Gamma doc. I'll put it in the description right down below so you can go check me and my company out. So when we audit new clients, we typically find that 70 to 80% of the email always come for campaigns. In some cases, it's actually the other way around. It's very rare that it's a 50-50 split or a 60-40 split, which we really want to, right? Sometimes it's actually like 10%, sometimes it's 30%. Again, depends. But they're basically just running two flows, and that's always the welcome flow, and it's either the abandoned cart and the abandoned checkout. And sometimes what I see is that they think they've put up the abandoned cart, but the trigger is actually set on the checkout, and that's because you have to manually code something in here. So that's a huge problem. You need to have abandoned cart set up and not only the checkout. And obviously your flows or their flows, they haven't been updated in a lot of months. I'll show you a screenshot of a case where it makes sense to update it and a case where it doesn't make sense to update it. So just stick around. So we want to allocate the revenue distribution, as I mentioned, like 60-40%. That's ideal depending on your specific case. Sometimes this number is actually the other way around. So the imbalance is just not it's, even though it's efficient, also just a profit killer, because if you're only sending out campaigns on discount, buy two, get one free, whatever, every hour you spend, every hour you spend on the campaigns, you could be optimizing your flows, right? Because these are working 24/7 and they just convert your customers and heighten your LTV. So in this guide, I'll show you the complete ecosystem flow that you need, exact structure and everything about this, how you optimize your existing flows, the benchmark, and how you can integrate it, and so on. So we want to turn your email marketing into an automated profit machine that prints money while you go do other things, might as well as when you're in your sleep. So the flow ecosystem. Before diving in, you need to understand how they work together. So everybody knows the 5 stages of awareness, right? In your email, you can say there's an awareness stage. That's where they get into your site. They're looking at some products, they're just browsing around. Then they enter the consideration, decision, purchase, yada, yada, yada. So when we have them from the awareness and they've purchased, we always want to keep them coming back. And that's where we enter the post-purchase stages and the loyalty stage, because this is where email marketing is way, way more fun, because this is where you get the high LTV after you convert the customer, right? So there's 3 categories of email flows: acquisition flow, pre-purchase; nurturing flows after the purchase; and then you have the retention flows, which is ongoing relationship. I won't go too much into detail because you can also read on the screen and you get access, right? Sorry. So the most important flows is what I call, these are like 8 most important flows. Ideally, you always need to have the 4 and 5 maybe, right? But not all flows are created equal. So here's how you should prioritize these. You need to have all of these, right? It doesn't matter whatever business you run, you need to have these. So the welcome flow, the abandoned cart and abandoned checkout, that's a high revenue impact flow. It's the same with the post-purchase. Maybe you could say the browser abandonment also, but it depends on the cases. In some cases, our post-purchase flows actually outperforms the welcome flow, and I'll show you this also in a minute. Implementation difficulty, I just mapped it out real quick, but your priority should be like this. Again, if a replenishment flow, if you run a skincare brand where they're buying your products every single month, every second month, this is very important for you. So it depends what kind of business you have, right? And here's some benchmarks. If you do 100K, I'll make this very easy for you. You should do all of these numbers, and you can always just extract this if you're doing 500K and 1 million and so on. So always aim for these types of percentage of the revenue. So your welcome flow, that's the most important automated sequence you have in your account, because it is converting new subscribers into first-time buyers, and this is where you establish the foundation for your relationship, right? So you want to have some triggers here, and then you can do the 8 email sequence as I just put in here. Obviously, immediately send this. You want to do some brand story, do some project education, overcome objections. You have the discount, obviously, if you have an offer. Always do these us versus them and your unique advantage. Again, if they haven't bought, and this is just an example, right? You can do first the offer, and then you can do 2 reminders, and then you can introduce your brand, introduce your team, and then introduce founder and whatever in here, right? The welcome sequence is very important that we want to convert them. If we don't convert them, we want to send them some educational emails, tips and tricks, like value-based emails, and then convert them in another flow if they don't utilize the discount code, right? So I won't break this too much down because you get access to the Gamma doc, but I just mentioned a bit about this. But obviously, just deliver the discount code, or if you have anything else. Conversion rate, I want to quickly speak about this, or it's called like your placed order rate. You should have at least 10% if they sign up. If not, you might have a problem different or elsewhere in your business, because that they sign up, they're ready to buy. You should have at least like 10%, right? Then a brand story, and then this is where the content guidance go in, as I just talked about. You want to always optimize this. You don't want to just like sit and run, right? So look at it every month. Just a quick look. It doesn't mean that if it works, like don't fix it if it ain't broken, but still do some updating and optimizing and see if you can build upon these flows, right? Abandoned cart flow. That's your highest converting automation besides like the welcome flow, because the abandoned cart and the abandoned checkout, these people are very warm. They've checked something in the box, they're in the cart or the checkout. So you want to really trigger these to get the conversion, and then you can sell to them again and again and again, right? So the psychological approach to cart recovery is you need to understand why abandoned carts are crucial for your recovery. So this is taken out of a study that I've just made into a brief picture, right? But extra cost is too high, so it could be free shipping. Most people, they just add something, then they see in the cart that this spikes up because, I wasn't expecting to be paying shipping or whatever. It could be that you have some other different kinds of things in your cart. Again, check that out with your backend stuff. Could be complicated, could be delivery is too slow, whatever it could be, too many payment declines. I mean, you need to have a lot of different payment options, right? So you want to do a 5 email cart abandon sequence. 1 reminder, answer objections, do an incentive urgency. If you can, give an offer here. I mean, it really doesn't hurt that much. And again, it's just an incentive to get the purchase, right? So do the gentle reminder, do the objection handle, as I said, and then content strategy way down here, where you could introduce an offer. We do this. We introduce an offer for every 3rd email in the abandoned cart to loyal customers or new customers, and the same with the checkout, just a different offer because we want to treat the loyal customers better, right? So down here we have the abandoned flow, and this can be very, very deep. You always want to test, especially when you're setting this up straight, you always want to test the delays, sending times, and so on. And you also want to you want to test out if it is a discount that is converting, if it's free shipping or it's an objection email, whatever it is. That's why I said like we don't do anything until email 3, because that trains like discount behavior, right? So test the dollar off and the percentage off versus free shipping and all your other offers that you can do. So here's just a picture. I can show, that's kind of annoying. All right, expand. It don't want to expand, but what you see here essentially is that this is a trigger, and here we have all the different kind of split tests on sending times and whatnot, and then it just get builds out even more. This is just more for you to show. Then you can split test on many different kind of things. What you don't want to do is do all of this in the setup if it is that you don't have enough volume, because it doesn't make sense to put 10 people here, 10 people, 8, 7, 15, 20. Like you need a lot more volume to get this tested and doing something with your analytics, right? Perfect. So the browser BAMA flow, triggers or targets who have just viewed products or something any else that they haven't done anything, just been on the website. So they are kind of lukewarm, if you could say something, and not as warm as the welcome series and the abandoned cart or checkout. But just it depending on how aggressive you want to be, do a 3 mail sequence. Product reminder, education, social proof, and do an incentive. If you could do a discount, in most cases we don't do a discount, but I know people want to convert here. So again, treat the browser banman that as a lukewarm audience. So it's not as aggressive as the abandoned cart and the abandoned checkout because they're just looking around, right? And again, you can do a lot of down here. You want to optimize again, always. Don't just set it and forget it. Test different times of day tips. If you want to do an offers, it could be category level, could be product recommendations. Always trying to educate the customer because they are just browsing. They're just looking around. You don't want to treat them as, oh, you need to buy right here, right now, right? So really, really important flow, browser banman and site abandonment and whatever you can call these flows. But one of the most important is what I would say is the post-purchase flows because they just put an order. They've just bought from you. You need to make sure that you're giving the best experience as possible, right? So this flow turns one-time buyers into repeat customers and like brand advocates. It's crucial for increasing your lifetime value of your customers. Absolutely crucial because this ties into all the other flows and it also ties into your campaigns, which ties into your brand on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok or your SEO and whatever. It just helps all the way around, like a total ecosystem. And I'm looking for a word, can't remember the word, but just all the way around, 360 omni-channel. That's what I'm saying. So you want to do a 6 email post-purchase sequence where you obviously order confirmation, excitement. Sometimes we do this where we actually try to upsell it. So we'll say like, hey, if you order your next product with, I don't know, let's say 5% discount code, we'll try to make it or send it with the same shipment, right? And that creates a hell of a lot of revenue. And you don't have to introduce a discount code. We've done this without discount codes. To say, hey, if you're missing something you didn't order, we'll make sure it ships it with the same shipment, right? And that prints money. Now, if you don't want to do that, just give something here. You can do some cross sales later, afterwards. Maybe some some instructions and so on. Maybe you introduce a review request here. It really depends, but we also use the post-purchase email sequence to give some brand and founder notes. It could be behind the scenes or whatever. It could tie into also the welcome series, but you want to do it in a different way. So don't just copy paste what you do from your welcome series and put it into the post-purchase sequence, right? You want to do it a different way. So for example, in one of our clients, we have I think it's in email 4 or say 5th, maybe 5. We have a just plain text email from the founder. That's actually it. And this is a big company doing 10 million per month. And, just getting the founder to say something works. It actually, I don't know why, but it just prints money from that flow. So, yeah, try it out for yourself. Again, I don't want to go too much into the breakdowns because you have this gamma yourself. I'll put it in the description. Always try to create different flows from first-time purchase to repeat customers. So that's why you don't want to do two different, actually. You want to have one is post-purchase, first purchase, and then you have a post-purchase second, third, fourth, fifth purchase. Like you can do this depending on which kind of business you have, right? I think that was test the founder thank you messaging versus product focused content, right? Maybe do both. So yeah, moving on. Win back flow. Reactivate customers who haven't purchased in a while. We typically do a 3 email win back sequence. So it could be these of the trigger points. Again, depending. If you buy like a closet, if you're an interior, you're probably not buying every single month, 60 day. You're probably buying a little bit, or your customer journey is a little bit longer, right? So you might buy something else. Like you don't buy a sofa, right? You buy the sofa like every 5-10 years. So make it fit your niche and your business. Again, it is typically like re-engagement and reminder. So if they haven't engaged or anything with your brand in a long time, just re-engage them. What's new? What's happening? Like, do you have any new products? Do you have something exciting to say? And if you want to, you can introduce an offer either in the first mail, second mail, or third mail. Again, like it depends. but you want to look at your stats, because if they open the first email and they just unsubscribe immediately, take a look at that data and maybe introduce an offer in the first email rather than the second or third, right? You can build this out even more. Again, it's not it's not exponential as you want it to be, but you can play around with different types of ideas in a win-back flow. So obviously, always, I don't know about this. This is just an example. Everybody does this. That's why I put it there. So I say, oh, we miss you, first name. Or it's been a while. I'd be more, or at least that's our strategy. We are a lot more, not edgy, but creative thinking. So these two first, I put them here. I might actually just mark them, but I put them here because, that's a bad color. Let's put in red. Like, don't use these. Everybody use these. And again, look at your open rate, look at the click to order rate and whatnot, but play around with your subject lines. They don't have to be out of the ordinary, but just don't be standard, okay? Play around with it. Perfect. And yeah, again, as I mentioned, you want to optimize. So if your first email has been sent out and you can see a lot of data and they're just unsubscribing and they're not doing anything, try to introduce an offer in the first email, right? That's what you want to optimize for, and do something with the data you have. The VIP flow, also lifetime value flow, whatever you call it, highest value customers, you want to increase that loyalty and get that profit just flying around in the air, because you don't have to convert these customers again. They already have, spent some money on you, right? The VIP flow, sometimes we do 2 email. It depends on the VIP. What is a VIP customer for you? Is it when they've bought 3 times? Is it when they've bought 8 times, 5 times? Again, trigger this or set the trigger up and in terms of what's a VIP customer to you. Because we have some clients where they have probably bought from this company like 9 times within like the last 2 years, right? 3 years. And that's not a skincare, it's like a fashion case. So fit it to a niche. Just want to introduce the offer immediately, and then you can do a VIP offer. You can do a 3rd email where you also do some reminders, and a 4th email where you tell them a bit maybe like behind the scenes and what's in it for the VIP, right? Again, shouldn't be anything really long, because they are also always buying from your campaigns and just regularly. So you want to introduce them like something really spectacular, like, if you're VIP at a brand, well, you're probably spending a lot of money on this brand, right? So treat them well. You always want to do some nurturing. So, for example, exclusive VIP only products or bundles, could be early access. Could be for, I know a lot of brands do this for the Black Friday. Then they do a VIP list, and you get exclusive offers, right? So I think you get all of this. I don't want to go too much into the details again. And what's really important for me to say, test the formal versus like casual VIP communication style. Play around a little bit with it. So let's go a little bit beyond the basics. So once you've implemented all of these like core flows, which I've shown, the advanced strategies that will take your like automation to the next level. So you want to do some cross-flow integrations where you can create like a seamless experience throughout the customer journey. So take a look at the flow transition points. All of these actually ties in together. Think of it like a rope. All of these like smaller threads, they need to be tied in and together for them to make a rope, right? So always have the correct triggers, correct exit criteria, so they don't get a welcome series and they don't get a browser payment and the abandoned cart, and then they get not the post purchase, but then they get all of these different types of flows: active on site, browser payment, abandoned cart, abandoned checkout, and so on and so on. You want them to trigger correctly, so it only, obviously, they get that email when they're the longest down the funnel, right? Consistent exit criteria, right? Implement proper suppression. You don't want to, get all of these bad emails in your email list. You want to filter these ones out. Consistent brand voice, design language. This is with the thought of that you are willing to try things out. Don't just do one design and then just print that all the way down. To play a little bit around also with the brand voice. And then you want to do some beyond one size fits all with advanced personalization. You can use some tools, and at some clients we use this called Alvas.ai. This is really powerful. It's just hyper personalization. Again, I'll actually link to this site, but they have really great case studies, and they can just, yeah, hyper personalization works really well. But you want to get a lot of data in terms of your customers, like who are engaging the most, right? Who are purchasing the most? What's their AOV or the lifetime value? Where are they based? And how are they looking in general, right? You could do this acquisition score, like where they coming from. Oh, sorry, acquisition source, like where they're coming from, right? Again, go deeper, a level deeper into this. Full path splits, separate email sequences. You want dynamic blocks because you want things to be changing, obviously. You want to do or change the subject lines and preview text and play around with it. Do some A/B testing with your pop-up forms and what I've ever talked in the other videos. Do the same with your campaigns and your flows. And you want to do the personalization based on the history. And also, if you can implement some of this personalization, well, that's really great. So you want to go systematic towards this and just test. I want to say test over time. Don't just test to test. Test with an incentive in mind. All right. One of the easiest way to test and see performance, that's the subject line and the preview text and the sending times. You could also do the other, but this doesn't tie as much into flow because your offer, that's not regarding to the flows. That's what your offer is in general, right? So test one element at a time. Do 2 to 4 weeks. Obviously, volume depends. If you're sending out 2,000 emails every single day, that is probably a good, and I mean like in one flow, that's probably a good volume, right? So we like to say 1 to 2 weeks, but volume depends. Don't look at individual emails. Measure the impact on your full system, because what happens in your welcome series, well, they might not buy, but you converted them through the pop-up form. They're in your welcome series, and then maybe they trigger on your bandit cart, bandit check, and they buy from there, right? So you want to see this on a deeper level. Prioritize high volume just to get as much data as possible and document all your tests and results. So you want to maintain it and optimize it for like a schedule. Weekly task, monthly task, and quarterly task. Like weekly, that's quick. Monthly is a bit more in depth, and then the quarterly, that's really when you go into the depth of all of what you can do. Your email content, settings, form name, address, test your brand name versus person names. As you see on a lot of ads and lots of emails, it's like, oh, it's JP from Marcati, or it's the brand name from Marcati, right? It could be Paco from Marcati. Whatever it could be is like the person's name with the brand. Some people, we do this on ads actually for ourselves. That's just my name. It's just JP Schroeder. That's the Facebook page that I'm running my ads. It's not JP from Marcati. It's just JP Schroeder. So that's the thing to test out. Also a little bit of hack on your ads. You want to test out subject lines and preview, the email template and the design in total, and you want to test the different kind of offers. You want to test the different kind of text. Do you need a plain text, a hybrid, or do you need a full designed email? Always do the mobile first, because 80% of emails get opens on the mobiles. I think it's like, 80%, 85 maybe. You want to have proper fallbacks also for dynamic content. You can use UTM just to track it consistently. If you have another tool, well, that's obviously always great and perfect. Best practices. I'll actually skip this, but you want to, I mean, it says itself, right? Consistent branding and voice. Don't like say in one email say something completely different than you do in another, but play a little bit around with it. The tracking in itself, I don't want to go too much into detail, because again, this varies a lot. If you use a system to track this, great. If you use the platform, great. If you use Google Analytics or whatever, great. But look at your total recipients and the conversion rate and your revenue per recipient. That's mainly it. And then you want the total attributed revenue, and this varies a lot, and your ROI. Because email is the highest ROI that you can do for your customers, because you're not paying actually to any ads budget. You're just paying to use a platform where you can send emails, which is really, really cheap and a high ROI. On your email level, that's where you want to track the open click rate, and when they click the email and CTAs, what's the conversion rate, right? And then obviously unsubscribe rate and spam complaint rate. On your unsubscribe, this is just our philosophy. Unsubscribes are not bad, because if they are unsubscribing, they're just telling you we're not actually interested in your brand and your products and whatever. And then they are actively saying, I don't want you to pay for this system to keep me on your list. So it's much better to have unsubscribes. Obviously, if it's 5%, you're probably doing something wrong. But don't be afraid of unsubscribes. because you're paying for these to be on your email list. If they're not engaging or anything, they might as well not have been there, right? Spam complaint rate, these are people like marking as spam. You want to have this as low as possible, obviously. And that is, if you send 3 emails per day throughout a month, you'll probably get a lot of spams, right? So just my 2 cents, maybe controversial. I don't know. I don't think it is, but unsubscribes, don't be afraid of it. So custom dashboard, you could do this. You could do the UTM parameters. We do this for all of the, if it's in Google, Meta, or Klaviyo, but you want to have these. So if you have another like tracking, if you have Hyros or Triple Whale or Reaction or Profit Metrics or whatever tool you have, obviously integrate that. You always just want to track them over time to identify trends. You want to compare it, you want to analyze it, and you want to attribute revenue properly between your campaigns and your flows. If your flows are working really, really, really well, start looking at your campaigns and the other way around. But don't be afraid if your flows are working better than the campaigns and turn off some of the flows. I've seen some people done that because they don't want to spam their customers, so they want to send campaigns instead. Have both. Monitor your unsubscribe and spam complaint. That's it. Actually, just the most important thing. So here's a 90-day plan. Do an audit and planning. Then you implement all of this. It can take a bit longer than 2 or 3 weeks. And then in week 4, this is where you start to review everything and just do the optimization of what you've got. Don't just set it up and forget it. Please don't. Please don't. So from month 1 and 4, this is where you do some of the more optimization, advanced optimization, as I talked about. And then in phase 3, this is where you have all of these in-depth and the ecosystem, and you can create, for example, you probably want to create a marketing calendar a bit earlier, but this is just for a year, for the next year, for example, right? And then you have enough data to play around with because you're sending out a lot of emails, you get a lot of volume, you get a lot of data, and this is where you can actually go on about to see, okay, what's really happening here. So one thing is important, if you have a team, train them how to look at the data and what they should do with the data, because a lot of teams, they just look at data and say, oh, well, yeah, that seems fine, and they don't do anything with it. That's just stupid. So within like 90 days, you should have, if you do all of this correctly, you should have around 50% just coming from your flows. You should see an increase in customer lifetime value depending on your niche, obviously. Sometimes this can be way higher. Again, you want to have 15-25% in key conversion rates. If you don't have this, it's not something to do with the emails. It's something to do with the conversion rate on your site. So email can fix this. A conversion rate optimization can fix this. Yep. So fully document scalable flow ecosystem. This is the most important flows that you have. There's a lot of other flows, which I will cover in another video. But again, you need to have all of these just set in place, whether you're generating $1 million a month or you're just, starting out, just have this set up. So actually, before I close, I want to show you this. We have a lot of flows here, and this is one of the example where you can see that it's actually been updated in 2024. So that's a long time ago. I'm showing this because we are not on this case anymore. This is what was a one-time setup fee, and you can see it is still generating a lot of revenue, a lot of revenue, right? They haven't changed this since last year, and still generating. This is like $4. This is almost $9, $8, $1, $3, $8, $6, $9. So you see, it works really, really well. And let me just show you another case also. This is one of our international clients abroad. And again, you can see some of these flows haven't really been updated for a bit of a time. But you see the revenue. You see the revenue per recipient actually absolutely just explodes in here. And just to prove it, I'll show you one more case. This is a case that we just started in February, and you see the revenue per recipient is absolutely crazy here. And you see all of these flows. A lot of flows haven't even been triggered yet, as you can see here. But it is, it's just insane. I think we started this in late February, maybe mid-February. But again, welcome series, you need these 8 most important flows, and you'll just be printing money. So just to close off, this isn't about working smarter. It's actually just building a true business that, an asset that consistently converts visitors into customers and customers to advocates, just while you're sleeping every single time. As long as you set this up, which will be a grind, it will take a lot of time, will take a lot of investment. But it's totally worth it. What I want you to think about is that when you've set this up, you're kind of already good to go, and all that labor that or work you've invested, that's pure profit afterwards. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to change it every single time unless something changes in your business, right? So do you want us, you want us to handle this for you? You can book a call right here. I'm not trying to pitch you anything. I'll just take a look in your account. If see, okay, we can probably implement something here and optimize here and there and so on. So don't be afraid just to book it, and we'll take it from there. If you really want to, you can join my newsletter also, where I provide a lot of tips and tricks and so on. So yeah, this is the automated revenue engine, high converting email flows. Set this up and you'll be printing revenue on autopilot. Thank you for watching, and leave a comment if you're in doubt of anything. Otherwise, hit me up on email, and peace.